In this tutorial, we will draw an abandoned gas station in order to show you how to draw weather textures. The scene is very complex and includes lots of man-made items. This always means you have a lot of work ahead of you, as you need to work very accurately. I start by working in a basic shading into the sky area. The clouds are then erased using a kneaded eraser. To ensure I don't lose the lines for the house and windmill, I create myself a template which I transfer onto baking paper. This allows me to overlay the transparent template over the sky and redraw any lost outlines. This time, however, I use an eraser instead of a pencil to establish the outlines. This technique allows me to draw a complex sky while still ensuring it flows seamlessly behind the foreground objects. To draw the windmill, I look at the tonal value of each fin and block it in using that tonal value. To get the rusty effect, I use a darker tonal value to draw in random spots. When working on the building, it's super important to ensure that all the planks are parallel to each other and moving towards the vanishing point. So I work to establish these lines first. If you don't get this correct, the building will look skew. I've got a separate tutorial which teaches you all about perspective and vanishing points, which you can also follow. After I'm happy that the perspective lines are correct, I work on getting the tonal value of the entire surface of the wall blocked in. Lastly, I'll work on getting the textures in the wood correct. This texture is created by adding lighter and darker patches in the wood and very thin lines to simulate cracks. You can even use a mechanical pencil to get these thin crack lines. For the sign, I lay in the basic tonal value, then erase the wording using my pen-shaped eraser. I then strategically place rust marks around these erased words to make the wording more readable. The doors are drawn in the same manner as the windows. I first establish the outline, then the depth caused by the recessed panels. In this case, they are shown as shadows because of the direction of the sun. If the sun was coming from the opposite direction, they would have been highlights. After that, I draw in any external shadows onto the door and windows that are being cast by external objects. Lastly, I work on the detail like cracks and wording. The wine vat is a simple shading from left to right to show that it's a round object. The recessed tops and the straps are then suggested. The corrugated sheeting on the veranda is coming loose from the roof, so the shadow it casts on the plank below has varying lengths. I work these shadows in very dark against the corrugated sheet and then fade them lighter downwards, making the shadow longer where the sheet has separated from the roof. To show the thickness of the sheet itself, I strategically darken the plank on the wall behind it, being careful to leave a thin highlight where the corrugated sheet is visible. For the signs on the wall, I simply scribble in what looks like writing on the wall. The signs are too far away to read the actual writing, so there's no need to try and print it in correctly. When it comes to the motorbike, your first thought is to panic about how you're going to draw in all that detail. As with the signs, the motorbike is too far away to see the detail. It's also physically too small on the paper to even try. As a result, we'll simply suggest the details. I start by drawing in the dark areas, as these help define the shape of the bike. From there, I'm able to pick out a few of the major details like the exhaust, handlebars, and the fuel tank, which I then suggest with a few basic shadings. And this is all that's needed in order to make it look believable on the drawing. We've come a long way with the drawing and are getting close to the end, so let's move on to the petrol pumps. The base is a few tonal values to show the angle change between the side and the top, as well as a few shadows being cast by the pumps themselves. The same thing happens on the pumps. The two sides have different tonal values in order to show that each side is at a different angle and the light is catching them differently. The darker side also has a bevel on it, which I indicate with a darker edging. I suggest some texture on the raised area by using cross-hatching. The round tops on the pump have a basic shading on the side to show that they are round, and then just a suggestion of the star logo on the front. To finish off, I flick in some grass, suggest the cactus, and swirl in the tumbleweed. To show that the sun is setting, I establish some really long shadows cast by the objects. To make the shadows look correct, I keep them parallel to each other. I draw them dark against the object and then fade them lighter away from the object. And with that, the sun is setting on this tutorial. If you would like to try your hand at drawing this picture, you can follow the draw-along version on our website at onlineartlessons.com. Please also like and subscribe so we can inform you when we bring out new tutorials like this one. I'll see you next time.